It's schnitzel time. Gotta wake up early, put the chicken on the press, get the bread it up. We gonna try our best. It's schnitzel time. Oop. Hello, hello. This is episode 42 of Comfort's Couch. Oop, got a little reverberation in there. Oop, got a little reverberation in there. Here we go. We're getting the beautiful people on the stage. Jack, what's going on, bud?
Number one, watch the football, of course. Watch the football.
Oh, awesome. Awesome, awesome. Can you hear me well with these new
Yeah,
headphones on?
I think that's fine.
Perfect. That's always my what worry is the fidelity in the noise. And I don't have a full setup, but we got it going. We got it streaming. We got it recording. Episode 42 of Comfort's Couch, storytelling extravaganza extraordinaire. There's a lot going on in there, eh, Jack?
Yep, let's go, Bills.
Now you've already rubbed your victories in your Maz's face all day. You plan on doing that this afternoon when he comes in?
They won. They actually won. The both of us won the game.
Hmm.
Is that
Didn't the
Sarah I
Bucks?
see? Is that Sarah I see?
That is Sarah that you see, bud. Let's give her a wave. So grateful that she got to come in. Hopefully, she has some time to come up today and tell us about the space flight, Jack. Apparently, December something another, the novella is going to the moon, Jack. What you think about that?
Cool.
Right? To have a story go from the Discord to the lunar surface. What an
Yeah.
adventure. What an adventure. Oh, she's trying to get up. Let's see what's happening. What up, Sarah?
Hey, peanut butter. I probably won't just stay in listening mode, but yeah, Crazy Jack is also included on our cargo. But yeah, we have an official date and we have the launch pad assigned to us. And I think that is freaking awesome. So December 30th, and depending on the slingshot and
Mm-hmm.
how it works, we'll probably be landing on either
Mm-hmm.
January 5th or 6th, which is awesome.
Whoa.
And Starboss and I spent about 4 hours on the phone today figuring out the protocol for all of the pieces of our cargo, because we do have cargo that's going with Copernic, but also Life Ship. And so figuring out all the pieces that we sent is just mind numbing. I mean, it's crazy. And thinking about how circumfusion plays such an integral role in the narrative about how the story is unfolding, and trying to figure out, um, without giving up too much information, but leading up to the countdown, we're going to be having a daily space just for a little bit. Not that we're not going to have guests or anything else. We're just going to go through and talk about the depiction. So you'll have the picture. I created pieces of artwork that were all handwritten and done so that they could be an OG type tactile piece, but going through and talking about not only every little piece that's on each of those relics, but also why they were sent, in terms of use case and protocol, and how it is relevant to all of Web3. So for you, Comfort, not only are we co-authors, but you have your own book and you have your own kind of ecosystem and characters that are really robust and beautiful. And a lot of people don't realize that when we were writing Circumfusion, you already had 10 years working on these stories. And so those characters by nature kind of weave their way into the narrative. But also, you've been a host of the DRP, Digital Renaissance, for over 2 years, so there's a lot of that content and data. And, of course, you have a kid called Beast, and you have Mrs. Beast now, which is really awesome. And, it was really weird. I'll just say one little story and then I'll go back down to listening. One of the things that I had included was an ultrasound picture for Josh Hellman. I help with their innovators think tank and coaching businesses and, innovation. I've invented a lot of things, and I just always listen in the background and see if I can help people, as a maker person and in the maker community. It's
Hmm.
always good to give back, right? So I put that ultrasound, and then on Saturday night, while we were in space, his wife came into the room because her water broke and had the baby pretty much live on X Spaces. And we're just like, what are the freaking odds that, the cargo that included their first ultrasound was locked into place and given a deadline or a countdown on the day that the baby was born. It's just really, really cool to see how it's all playing out. But I'm excited. I'm excited for you too, because um, Circumfusion made you an author. You've always been a writer, but having that under your belt and now being able to create something for yourself, it's really, really fun to watch. And I'm excited to see how it all pans out with you, kiddo. I think it's going to be great. But
Wait till we drop that 760-page manifesto.
well, that's a fun thing. It's hard because I also have some deadlines to drop before launch, which is
Mm.
hard. But it's going to be, I don't know. I have no idea how it's all going to pan out. I just know it's a grand experiment, and we all loan our verse, don't we,
Oh
in
yeah.
some way. And so it's just really a privilege to be on the timeline of history with my pocket family and to be able to
Mhm.
play this one out. I think it's going to be fun. So,
Oh yeah. No, we
Crazy
got we got
Jack, I love you. Just so you
we got,
know, I see your hearts.
we got Sons of Liberty, type vibes. We are at the forefront. We're at the bow of the vessel as it's cresting over the waves, bounding towards undiscovered shores.
Well, it's really cool. I had sent the blueprints to the makerspace that I
Hmm.
built on our property, and we didn't break ground until after my part of the cargo had already, been shuffled off to the next person, right? But building it out into, something real and having the old printing presses delivered this past couple weeks. I have a press from Speedball from 1923, and then I have I don't know, it's kind of a sick waltz is what they call it, but it's also from the last roaring 20s. And having the idea that these printing presses are actually going to play a role in minting things that are off world, that
Mm.
when we sent things off world, we sent the carbon copies, we sent the pictures of the lino cuts, and then having that generator that's on the lunar surface is actually going to play a role in generating the images that we're actually going to print here in actual things. And so it's that connection between the digital world and a real world asset that are printed, that lay the foundation for something like what you've been talking about, your minting press, right? So
Hmm.
it's like you have all of these little pieces, and honestly, I don't know how they're all going to play out. It's just you throw against the wall and you say, hey, here's the entire cargo. And if it
Mhm.
can help humanity, um, and we're trying also to set up a DAO because everybody that was included, they deserve their fractionalized share of that cargo. Yeah,
Mhm.
I sent it, but I do think that everybody has the opportunity to make the right choice. It's really hard for someone to say, I'm going to give up all of my profits to set a precedent. And in that precedent, make sure that, people are actually being paid for what they're worth and their contribution. That's a very difficult thing because everybody talks about it, but not one person lifts their finger to do it. And when
Mhm.
somebody does it, everybody around you says, I can't believe you're crazy. But I hope that we did the best we could. Put it that way. I mean, hindsight's always 2020, but I hope
Mhm.
that there's enough to work with that smarter people can figure it out for us. But
Right. That's the plan. Just to inspire them further. That's all you really can do, is to extend the Promethean courtesy, if you would, the
amen.
irreducible rascality, to not be beholding to a particular trope that
You
has
know,
that you've been fed.
well, it's true. I mean, my grandfather, my great grandfather, the Promethean courtesy was his saying that I stole from him. You know, as a blacksmith. It was a common thing to say, I suppose, in the late 1800s. But it's interesting because you're absolutely right. You're sparking a fire and you're loaning it to somebody else, and
Hmm.
that's going to set it ablaze. And you have no idea how that works. But as an author, I mean, Comfort, you've been working on your story for a long time. And when somebody reads it, they're going to take it and run with it. Once it's out in the wild, it's not yours anymore. You had the story that you intended to set to ink, but you don't have any idea
Hmm.
how people are going to read it. And it's the same with this cargo. I have no freaking clue how it's going to pan out. But I hope it does. I saw that Hashlips is busy 3D printing figurines, and they all look like Ethan. I don't know if you just saw his post a little bit ago, a
I did
couple
not
hours
see
ago.
it.
Holy
Uh-oh.
crap! It's Ethan. I mean,
Is it based off Rap Beats' little rendition, or did he
I
just
have
like,
no idea.
let
He
me
has a
see
whole
him?
freaking legion of little
Oh,
Ethans. He's got the
stop
hats
it.
and everything, and they're all about 6 inches tall. And so, watching how they're playing out, it's just been fun. It's just been fun. Crazy Jack, I see your hands up, friend. I will shut up now. How are you?
Jack Attack, come back, bud. You're in the echo.
Crazy Jack is a sweetheart. He was very sick, and so he calls me on Twitter in the middle of the night. I'm sick. I understand, and I hope that he's feeling better.
Right.
I know that he has a space on Friday, so maybe that's what he's spamming the top up with. Yeah, and of course the Buffalo Bills. I understand. Yes, I'm waving to you. I'm more of a college football fan. I think that professional football has lost its luster.
For sure.
The real diehards are all college kids. So at any rate, I see that Lala's here. I hope that she's having a beautiful day putting up with your sorry butt. And
I mean,
we'll give
without
her a
without
call too.
her like kicking me into gear,
She's a
like,
smart
nope,
cookie. You married
you're
up.
gonna you're gonna go do those readings. No, I know you want to go play, but you're gonna sit down and read. And I'm like, yes, ma'am.
That's right. That's right. That's why God sent her. So, she's going to bust your chops. And I'll tell you what, you make a great team. So I'll go back down to listening. I just wanted to
Well,
tell you,
thanks
I
for sharing,
appreciate
Sarah,
you.
and
Yep.
give our
December
war
30th.
give our love to Star Boss. Hope that
I
her
will. You know
endeavors
what?
are.
She's just kind of back to, it's really interesting. I can't tell you how proud I am of her. You
She's
know,
come a long way, man.
well, the project that she's building, but also, you know, when she was doing her daily spaces, to walk away from that and say, hey, look, I really have to buckle down and build. She comes to the building spaces on Saturday night. She's built a SAS. She's built
There we go.
learning coding. She's done all sorts of stuff using her AI cohort. And it's incredible to watch from the cheap seats her really take the bull by the horns and use
Hmm.
the emerging tech. And I think it's a testimony to everybody. When you have a brain injury such as hers, some people can be offended, if you get, you know, you don't have the attention or you get cut off or whatever. They don't understand, like
Yeah.
you have a different relationship because you only have enough bandwidth. And for her, she's building a business, and anything that didn't fall in line, because when you have to get funding, you have to really be cognizant of your brand. I mean, for you, Comfort, this is going to be a big learning curve, because depending on who your audience is for your book, who you follow online, their reputation follows you. And so, for her to get serious funding, she had to get rid of a lot of crypto kind of pirate money type things in order to gain a seriousness of purpose in the field that
Mm.
she's passionate about. And so a lot of people would feel very upset, but at the same time, she's looking at her goal and saying, I can't do this. It's just like me as a maker. I have a lot of young makers that follow me. And that means I can't go into the spaces that they're swearing or there's questionable material. I do go into those spaces as an anonymous all the flipping time and I listen to the recording, but you have to be so cognizant of your brand. And if your brand is a rabble rouser and, edgy, then by all means continue. But it does definitely limit which forums you'll be invited to. And so, that's one of the hardest parts, is that as you evolve and you find your purpose, sometimes it means pruning, and pruning a shrub can be very painful, And so I think it's interesting to watch, because she's come a long way, but I will give her your regards and we'll call it good. I see that LTO's here too. I love LTO. He's one of my favorite people. I can't wait to tell him what happened this
Well,
past week. But
everything you've been saying, Sarah, is so beautiful. Thank you. I followed you into the space because I got a notification, and I agree with what you're saying. I unfollowed
oh, thank
4,000
you.
people to prune the tree. Like 4,000 people unfollowing. Like I dare everyone to try that.
Well, it's the hardest part, because people will look at you and say, I can't believe I was one of the people on the cutting block. But I really abuse lists. So I have a lot of people in a list that I might not be following. And that,
Yeah.
that just helps your algorithm too, because you really have to train your AI, but not so well that all you have is an echo chamber. Because, like, for instance, Comfort, I'm only using you as an example because you're like my brother. But let's say Comfort only handled or hung around a certain group of people. The visibility of his book will be seriously diminished, because they're only going to show that to crypto bros or
Hmm.
whatever, fill in the blank, right?
Yep.
So you really have to branch out and choose very specifically who to kind of associate yourself with. And not all writers either. You have to kind of think, okay, he's writing a space, it's involving space or science fiction. Well, then he'll have to follow all of, space or emerging technologies or, quantum
Hmm.
physics, instead of just Terrace, McKenna or whatever. It's like you have all these beautiful writers that have inspired you, but also the kind of fields that you want to influence. And especially with Comfort, he's got such a beautiful mind. And it's crazy how, his characters, I've had the privilege of seeing just briefly into his world. When he writes out a scene or something like that, I think co-authoring that helps you, but it's such a beautiful mindset, right? And then you think to yourself, well, who do I know in my Rolodex that could actually help him? You think of the manga artists, or some of the things that he's really good at. Those are the kinds of things. But thank you for following me in here,
Something,
William.
something Something you touched on, Sarah, like I went through a risk assessment for Stripe, and what I realized is that those are opportunities for you to shed layers of obscurity and become your most authentic self, and that involves redefining exactly what your business is and how it operates so that it lines up with the ESG requirements, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Dead on. Dead on, William.
Well, I
Sorry
want
we
to
overtook
welcome.
your
Oh, you're
conversation.
perfectly fine. I mean, we're just chatting and chilling. This is episode 42 of the storytelling extravaganza. Everything we do is predicated upon story, your philosophies, your risk assessment, your management, your ID, your identity, all of it a story cobbled together. And it's just very important that we figure out through these mental dojos how to develop the agile philosophies to be able to handle what's coming for us when the algorithms are wholeheartedly acting upon our linguistic structures. Uh, it's essential that we kind of bend with that ebb and flow and hopefully be able to truly lend our verse uh, by liberating the creative mind, reinstating us back to our proper space in the social discourse. My theory is the world is the way it is because we lack the essential creative impetus that gives us critical thinking so we don't get stuck on the state without raising the stage. But everything you want to share and contribute is more than welcome, especially on the couch.
It's nice to be here. I'd love to hear what Crazy has to say. Hi.
Crazy Jack.
I'm here
What you trying to tell me, bud?
with the TV for YouTuber Lee Ash right now.
Okay. Now you fully resting up?
Yeah.
I need you healed up so you can claim those first places on your dress to impress.
But there though, all of the Cleveland Stars.
You're out of hand, Jack. Are you done with fishing for the year?
Yeah.
You don't do any winter trips
Look,
other
Christmas
than the
trip.
Christmas?
Christmas trip.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I know you're pumped about that. Hell, I'm pumped
Tennessee.
about it.
To
I know.
Tennessee.
In the cabin, right?
Yeah.
My guy. Hot tub?
Yes. The hot tub and the pool, Field Mountain, the big field mountains too.
That's the best part. Looking out early morning, late evening, whatever your pleasure, just looking out and seeing the immensity of the horizon.
I put them looking for a deck, looking for a deck and plan was fun. Deck and plan is fun.
A nice one.
9.9 deluxe deck. I'm using this deck here is good.
Now, what's that 9.9 out of? 10?
My deck I'm using this deck is really good. My favorite decks ever. My favorites.
Now, Jack, will you be able to send us some pictures? Now, I know the Christmas trip's a little way off. Will you be able to send us any pictures of the vistas?
Yeah, the whole Halloween trip and the Christmas trip to all of the nines.
Okay. That's dope.
I'm
Living
gonna
your
get it.
life.
I'm
Living
gonna
your
get out
life. I
here and
love it,
get some
Jack. Huh?
some stuff for some just to impress and win for Sarah.
I love it. The dedication. I love it, dude. Hard work, dedication, plus patience. It's what's required.
Yeah, Sarah though, she's a queen on Twitter.
Damn, sending all the flowers. All the flowers. Oh, Jack, you're a wild one. I love it. I love it. And your space is Friday, Jack? Is that what I heard?
It is
Dang, what time is it?
1:30.
So I thought.
Oh, I have something tomorrow. I posted on Facebook saying something about rewriting the code of business, and then
Ooh.
the Facebook AI decided that I was making an event called Recoding Business, and so I'm doing that now.
I love that. We do need to rewrite the code of business, though, for sure, for sure. Especially if money is a form of speech and it activates on our lexicon. You know, you don't want the ad model that tells you to obey your thirst, drink Sprite, being the one that tells you what 1 + 1 is,
Yeah, totally.
or what is truth and what is justice. Let the polis decide. So they say.
Lovely me, my headset just died.
Nice. Switch out to the other one.
Oh, the
If you
mobile
do,
phone.
oh, okay, not a 1 or a 2.
It's just a conference call, Bluetooth earbud. It's pretty good, pretty good.
Oh yeah, need adequate ways to communicate in these mental dojos for sure. Some of the folks they kind of get a little particular about the quality of people's headsets, you know. They're like, "What? I can't hear you. Get out of here." Or if you come in with a newer headset, you know, it is as if you've changed masks. You're a different person. They're used to the certain quality of your voice. That's not you. Who is this? Which imposter?
Well, I get a lot of compliments on my direct line in for when I like have my AI assistant come into the space, or if I have music playing, because I've increased the audio quality output for my like the kilobits per second, so my computer like puts more audio into the space, like better quality. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh no, the higher fidelity, the better. We even the computer's not set up now, but we use these Roland Go mixers that they use for playing music, I guess, to social media spaces or just social media in general. And we use those with other phones to kind of get a higher quality of audio played into the space while we're hosting. But like I said, my computer is down at the moment, or I'll be blasting y'all with some philosophy from my favorite uh, contemporary philosopher. He's more of a hoarder of quotes and good ideas than an actual figuring out the next key step. But the way that he presents the material is refreshing and inspiring.
Yeah, I'm always down to listen to things like that in spaces. I love just background sound while I'm working. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. But even more than background sound, the spaces though themselves. You know, these are the deltas where the bones of our ancestors have gathered, where we're losing our humanity elsewhere. Ironically, I have rediscovered it here. You know, when I was just about to give up and go to BMW or Volvo or whatever, just go step on the backs of the broken dreams of the people beneath me. You know, on my bloodied path to glory at the top of the corporate ladder. I discovered a whole bunch of freaks one night, and that had made all the difference. It helped me see the road less traveled, and as a poet at heart, it kind of I had to.
There's nothing better than finding people who actually resonate with what you say. I use base 3 balanced ternary logic in my system, and it's really confusing and convoluted. So explaining that to people, and the first time I was in a space with someone, his name's 11, and he runs a Discord server full of like crypto stuff, not crypto, like cryptology, not crypto,
Yeah, like the real crypto, the
like
real
actual
shit.
crypto. And so he was the first person I could actually talk to about this situation I'm in this business, and it was so good. Like, and then from there, people call me trinary now because I use that logic.
Trinary logic. I like it.
Yeah, it's like binary, but base 3, not base 2, right?
Hmm. And the base two, base three, that's essentially the fisherman's net. It's the tool, the unit of measurement that they're using to interact with the environment.
Yeah, it's the whole environment, but you can
Hmm.
emulate it using anything that is what do you call it? Turing complete. Anything Turing complete can emulate base 3.
That's so wild, just how all that works to begin with. But eventually, the Moore's law will double its exponentiality. It's already bootstrapping onto itself, especially because we're in this feedback loop between minds, tools, and environments, where it's a self amplifying and self referential feedback loop. So that everything that we do has the butterfly effect kind of attached to it. But, the tech now right now is evolving its own evolvability. So wild. What a time to be alive.
I'm thinking, maybe that message I sent into the future to send that information back in time so that I could find it now worked. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. Maybe. Who knows, man? I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson had this cool thing where folks, he's like, yeah, people worried about this being a simulation. The overwhelming odds that it could be fake or unreal. And he said, "Bro, if you look at the statistics, we're either at the beginning of the first simulation or we're creating the next iteration of the simulation." Like I hope it has better than pay to win. We're about to make the next iteration. Oh.
I just want to point out the beautiful significance of episode 42. I believe it's the meaning to existence.
Let's deep dive into the episode 42. I did put on the post for the space, writing, publishing, and the secrets of the universe. So I definitely don't want to, fool the people with their expectations about the secrets of the universe. But what's 42 mean to you, William?
Well, I use these ancient Confucian divination script called the Canon of Supreme Mystery, and there's got these 81 tetragrams in it. And because I went a layer deep into the self-similar fractal logic of my system to optimize the code, I figured out there's actually 42 tetragrams for the championship winner. So that tells me exactly what happened in this investment bracket. It's kind of confusing, but 42 tetragrams for the overall winner of this championship I built. So that's the significance of the number for me.
That's dope. Have you ever heard of the quantum physicist Nassim Haramein?
I have not.
Definitely check him out. He's a brilliant guy. I mean, his theories about the nature of reality and the Schwarzschild field equations and just technology and numerology, not numerology in the loose sense, but
Hmm.
the notion that, you can take a cube of Planck space time. He like plots out the energy potential in the vacuum of a cube of Planck space. It's very fascinating, very profound. If you're thinking about the holonomic nature of things, I would totally recommend the work of Nassim Haramein.
So he says here he's a Swiss-American quantum physicist and mathematician known for groundbreaking theories on the nature of space, time, and gravity. He founded the Resonance Science Foundation,
Hmm.
and it's a pretty cool dude. Sounds interesting.
Yeah,
And he's
give him
done
a
TED Talks on TED Talks. I'll look into them.
Yeah, give him a look. See, I saw him years ago, but way back when I was in college, and this was like earlier days of YouTube. And I guess there was a limit to what you could upload because he had a 5-hour lecture that was just broken into these small little segments I had to piece together. And I was just like, I need to know the secrets of reality. Tell me, Nassim, tell
Well,
me.
that's the thing. I like when I realized, bro, and I've spoken to a pro wrestler, I forget his name, the Brooklyn Brawler, and I
Yeah,
spoke to him in space
he's a
about this.
crazy one. I love him,
We
man.
both agree. When I realized that what I'm working on was coming from within myself, I stopped looking for answers outside of myself and just trusted my own intuition and discernment to figure out what was right, and it hasn't led me wrong so far.
Yep, exactly. Well, it's just, I mean, because when you look outside of yourself, you're really looking for confirmation bias, but it's very it's such a trepidatious position to find yourself in because, as we get from Epictetus, he says, the moment we are tempted to seek approval outside of ourselves, it's the corruption of our integrity. Our integrity is our destiny. If this stuff is coming from within you, is coming through you, essentially, you definitely don't want to corrupt the signal with all that noise that you're creating by wasting the bandwidth on the other. It's just because we tend to create these worlds unto themselves, whereby we're modeling
Oh,
other people. So it's not even just
pocket
like
dimensions.
you're not even just modeling them down the road. You're like modeling the road and the house and the world and the time on that one little situation.
Yeah,
It could be.
but these pocket dimensions we create can come in handy, like for wagering or
Oh, I mean, Tesla used to work in there in his dreams, in his sleep, in those pocket dimensions, those subliminal spaces, I guess. So wild. I can't wait though till we are able to tap into the latent potential of the human being uh, in a way that ignites the flourishing of what we are as a species. Because we're capable of so much more. We've already, through dunderheaded, ninny mugging nonsense, essentially hallucinated space shuttles and iPhones into existence. Imagine what would happen if we actually had the vectors of our intention focused
Yeah, bro.
on commonality.
We've fully just scribed glyphs into rocks and they've come to life, and we're like, now do this with them.
Mm-hmm. Crazy Jack, what you got for me?
I got first place.
Damn, son. You making a post about it? Make a post. Make sure you tag Sarah in it.
And well, I just got first place.
Damn, you called it. You were like, I'm doing this one for Sarah. Boom, Shabelle. Let's go.
I got first place, so I won first place.
Hell yeah, bro. Congratulations, man.
Picture on top. Picture on top. My iPhone did.
I see it now. Good job, bro.
One of my favorite quotes, and it's from a rap song, is I'll come in first because I finish last. Sort of highlights how if you take your time with something, you'll get further than someone who rushes. Because if you rush something, you often overlook crucial insights and won't be prepared for what you're actually doing.
Oh yeah. Nature never rushes, but accomplishes all things. That's from Alan Watts. Thank you, Jack, for sharing, bud. Keep pressing, my guy. Fucking love that dude. Sean, if that's how I pronounce your name. How you doing?
Hello, how's it going?
Oh, it's going
Uh,
quite well.
good,
Welcome to
good, good.
Comfort's Couch Storytelling Extravaganza.
Excellent. I like it.
What's going on with you?
You all seem to be very positive about the future of the human race, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. But hang on a second. Are we really sure that the future of the human race is going to be a good thing? Just putting it out there.
Oh, well, it's not. We like deserve the Terminator scenario if we fail to liberate the creative mind across the globe as swiftly as possible. At least that's the only thing I can think about doing. Most stuff is kind of embedded into the construct of our day to dayness for most people. Our thoughts, theories, what we believe, how we believe. These are basically stories, that we have been told and we accept them. Beans on toast, Sprite's water, in is out, up is down, 2 + 2 is 5. But I think this happens when we lose the creative spark in our world. Like the artist is mythal it's mythologicalized, whatever. It's been turned into the mythos of this sad, tortured, lonely thing. And I think that ultimately is what we end up as when we lose the creativity and the art from our day-to-dayness.
I'd love to share something. So I was having an argument about positivity and negativity with someone on here, and I had to block him and then a reply, so I gave myself time to explain properly, right? Because I'm talking about trinary logic where you have negative on and then on, so it's technically positive when it's negative. So it was really confusing. I had to explain to him. I put this in the nest, an interesting post. I'd read it out, but if you see it first, maybe see what you think. It's talking about how energy flows in a transistor.
Well, it's hard to get stuck on this duality, and that's the whole purpose in Zen philosophy, is to break the duality of life. We're not smart enough to know what is the good, what is the bad. There's many parables about it. Um, but it's up to us to be able to discern better and more acutely than we currently are today, which is this: I stubbed my toe 40 years ago and I'm still holding on to that anguish, uh, and now I'm bored with life. And how could you
Yeah,
be bored with something that took like 800 people randomly getting together throughout 7 generations for you to kind of come to be? It almost owes you to produce a poem, a picture, something.
how do you think I feel using a 2,000-year-old Confucian divination script that's confused scholars and priests and everyone for 2,000 years And then I
Hey,
just all of a sudden, as soon as I find it, I could immediately implement it in my financial investment strategy. How do you think I feel? I have to do it justice. Like, what is this?
hey, pick your poison, you know? Some people use language, other people use ancient cuneiform divination systems, yarrow stalks, you know,
That's
Bitcoin.
exactly what they used to use, Euro stocks. That's how they did it 2,000 years ago using the
Yeah.
Canon. Yeah.
For the I Ching. Look up that Nassim Haramein.
It is the
That
I
shit's
Ching.
gonna
It is
trip
the I
you.
Ching.
It's gonna
This is
fucking
the
trip
next
you out, bro.
this is
That
the
shit's
next
gonna
version of
trip
the I
you.
Ching. This
Wait
is
till
the I Ching,
you
but it's base 3. You've got 81 tetragrams, not 64 hexagrams. It's exactly the same, but it's base
wait
3.
till you look up what he does with the I Ching because it has like the solid and broken lines, right? That's how it does
Yeah.
its thing. He puts them together, and like when he puts them together, it's yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like your mind can't you can't go back into the box seeing something fantastic like that. Chad, what's going on,
Exactly.
bud?
Hey man, I was just really intrigued by the I'm sorry, by the title of this space. Man, this is awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for coming on stage. We're just telling stories, talking about stories, narrative, all that stuff. So,
I
welcome to
love
the
it.
couch. If you got something to contribute, please feel free to
Do you mind if I
step
just
in
sit
and
back and kind of catch a vibe for just a little bit longer and pop in
yeah.
a little bit later? Thank you.
Oh, of course, of course. No, I just wanted to let you know that you are seen and everybody in attendance is appreciated to the fullest. Heather and Altia, I see you,
Thank you, sir.
Sebastian and Lala and the rest. JJ, let's try to get you on stage.
So what do you think of the cult narrative? Because I was asked today to turn my fractal thing into a cult, and I just thought it was funny because I've got a good law for it. Like,
A cult, huh? Mm, I think it's like the path of the dark magicians at that point. You know, it doesn't hold a candle to the narrative that what matters the most is each other. When it's this cult
yeah,
like
yeah,
thing,
that's
you
the
know.
thing. Because the whole point of my business, and it wouldn't be legal in New Zealand, is if it wasn't supporting charity. So that's the whole point. Um, and then
Yeah.
that it's just I don't know. It was just something funny. But if you see the post, I'll DM you.
They the way they the way we constantly label and identify things, it has its place. But for far too long we've used identity to divide us versus what makes us come alive being the force that unites us. Like we need as many writers, many painters, people of passion, people of creative mindset, disposition, with vision, true vision. Not somebody who's just trying to make a paycheck, because everybody's just trying to keep the lights on, and that position doesn't really need to find itself in many of the key pillars of society.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more context. I've got a group chat with all of the like smartest people I've found on Twitter. And so someone in the group chat said, "Fuck it, let's become sorry for swearing. Let's become the next EACC, but with fractals." and so that's the cult. It's just a group movement, nothing more.
All right, so Sean, what you got, bud?
I, yeah, you were talking about the duality of life earlier on, and I wouldn't be so down on it if because I think it's very important. Like the cosmos is such a complicated thing, um, the universe, everything else, and here we are. Uh, existence, existence. What the fuck is that? Like we didn't ask to be called into existence, but here we are on an X space talking about it, right? It can be pretty harsh. It can be great. It can be wonderful, right? But what the fuck is it, right? That's the big thing. Beyond the nuts and bolts of how the universe, how the cosmos is put together, is the central question. They may find out eventually. They may be able to work out the mathematics which connect the very large to the very small, and they may know the nuts and bolts of how the universe is all put together, but that's all they
Hmm.
will know, you know. So they don't yet, they will not yet know why it was put together or or by whom. And they still have the problem of existence, this thing we're in.
Mhm.
And sometimes it seems like a prison, sometimes it seems like the best thing ever. But going back to duality, yeah, I think when it comes to the nuts and bolts of how everything's put together, duality is very important because it's very simple, and that might seem limiting because you want more complexity, you want more options, more experiences, or whatever, right? But it's very important to bring it down to a very simple thing because so that all of the people can understand it and how it works. Because we have a lot of people, some of them are very intelligent, some of them are medium intelligent, some of them are just plain stupid, right? So you have to have a very simple idea at the very core of existence to explain it to everyone, I believe.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what the Zen philosophers kind of try to showcase is that most of our discernment about the nature of reality is still based in words, and we will never be able to get to it, sadly, to the ultimate understanding of it, because we are of this process, this continuation of a process that's been playing out since the carbon atoms first formed in the furnaces of dying stars and became our eyes as we look into the night sky. It's such a complex thing that we tend to, get stuck on the first question, which is what it is, versus like what is it, what can we do with it. Then most importantly is who's going to clean the mess up. Who's going to clean
Can I
up this
can I
mess?
please can I please explain duality concisely from a Taoist perspective? So
Yeah, yeah.
in Taoism, you have the yin and yang, and those are the two dualities, and they look like they're opposing, but they're actually held together by a secret third thing, and that is the Tao itself, and it is ineffable.
Oh my God, you and your I love it. I love your trilateral commission. The rule of three. That's sick. Love it. It's like the X, Y, and Z, right? Or to get real crazy, the 3, 6, and 9 from Nikola Tesla.
Yep. So if you arrange the numbers 1 to 81 in a magic square, it adds up to 369 on all sides, including diagonals. So there's 81 tetragrams. In Chinese metaphysics, Confucian metaphysics, the number 81 represents an all-encompassing set of possibilities that govern
Ooh.
existence. And and there's
Mm,
conspiracy theorists out there, you can find these videos, people saying the whole universe is converging on this number 81, but they don't know why.
damn. But why does it not line up with 42? Chad, can you tell us anything?
It, it does.
Um, I think to say to the Zen the Taoists want to like end duality. I think that's a kind of a confusing because it had me confused for a really long time. I thought that meant that everything should be reduced to a single choice between the two, and I never I never realized what they meant until recently. I was having a conversation with a cat who said, you know, when you watch CNN or when you watch Fox News, what they're trying to do is to try and make you be one thing, and that's impossible, right? To be just one thing isn't that would mean that we're not human beings. Like we're both conservative and liberal simultaneously. To be just one of those things at all times would make us something not human. And so I think what the duality means is that you have to hold those two things in your head at simultaneously and to
Yes.
not make a choice. And that's like what Zen, the Taoist thought is to the ultimate ideal is to not make choice. And I think and that was
Mm,
very confusing for me too. You know what I mean? Like, what do they mean by that? You can't live if you don't make choices. But I think that's what they mean is you have to hold these ideals simultaneously in your head.
well, and also, Chad, there's a Rudyard Kipling poem we kind of go over with in the morning sometimes, but If by Rudyard Kipling. And one of the little takeaways is to basically what you just said, hold both imposters, victory and success, and hold both imposters as one and the same.
Right. Yeah, that's just a fascinating line of thought for me, and I
I think
really
he
think
meant
that,
I think he meant there victory and defeat, the two opposites as the same.
that's what he
Yes,
said, right?
yes, yes, yes. No, I said victory and success.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, but that's how the brain does it, though. It fills in the gaps. It's making it up along the way. You know, it's such a wild phenomena to be a part of, but it shows how mutable the whole process is.
I think iterative design and generative design, where you refine something over a long time. Like I didn't start out on my project building a fractal system. It turned into that after a decade of me researching this self-similar number sequence without even knowing what I was doing really. So I think anyone can be in the same position I'm in if they applied themselves the way I did, you know.
I'd just like to make one additional note. If somebody is trying to reduce you to one thing, chances are very high that you're about to be eaten or that you're somebody's prey.
I mean, yeah, something. I mean, something like that. If you find yourself defending, you've already lost.
We're jumping back to the television channeling programming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well,
just somebody trying to reduce you to one element, then they're reducing you to one element. That's not a good thing.
well, it's not even just this one element. It's a piece of an element. You know, they've siloed off
Right.
the mask of you're already being narrowed down by default. You know, with before underneath the mask, you know, is the divine intimating principle, and then there's me, and then there's the version of me that others see, and the version of me that I see that others see, and they take that and chisel it down to the smallest polyp, and then puts it in its own little incubation chamber. You know, isolating us off so that we're all inadequate
Right.
by the very nature of their story.
Right. And then the generalized version of all of those little pieces that have been shipped away to their most essential elements are like the collective unconscious, or not the collective unconscious. I guess that would be what the collective, I don't know, like just the most shallow, the stereotypical versions of people that
Yeah,
everybody shares.
that would just I think that's just the default mode, the nodding recognition into
Yes.
non-existence.
Right.
That's what that is.
Default mode network. It's small town syndrome, and it's people being a product of their
Hmm.
environment.
Small town syndrome. I
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Right.
Even though the small town should be popping off, you know, like with today's technology, you know, it should be like, but you don't have to go anywhere.
But
Like
this is
you're
the
able to.
algorithm. The algorithm has divided us into our interests, and then we are, put into basically echo chambers. So we're not in control of the content we see. We're being served everything algorithmically. People, they're deciding for us what we want to see because they think we have no agency, right?
And we don't have any agency now. That's what the algorithms have done. They've literally, technology has promised us all of this freedom, and it has given us a lot of freedom, but not in the way that we expected. I think that it's like almost like I don't know, I don't want to say it out loud.
No, you're hinting at it. That's enough. We all get what you're saying, bro.
I think it's
Yeah,
pretty obvious.
can I can I just say, if you're talking about dualities, Democrat and Republican is a duality that they force upon people, and Labour
Mm.
and Conservatives in the UK is a duality that they force on people to give the impression that there's some kind of choice
Yeah,
when
because the
when
choice is if you don't
Right.
vote, then bureaucracy kicks in. And if bureaucracy kicks in, then it's state elected officials. And you want people who are actually caring for the people to be in charge, right? Not the bloody default mode network.
Well, more importantly, what he's saying, I think, is that there is, like, both things exist simultaneously in a person. Like we don't. When I make a short conversation with the person that I'm meeting for the very first time, I'm not approaching them as a liberal or a conservative. Both elements of those two things, even though they're opposing, I guess, in theory, come out of me when I speak to them, based on my personal preferences, based on how I was raised, based on how I expect to be, handled in the future, how I expect these people to handle me in the future. Like you can't just be a conservative. You can't just be a liberal. You're both things simultaneously, and that's whenever people try and force you into one corner or the other. I'm telling you, man, you're being eaten or you're being algorithmatized.
Oh yeah, fear not. There's a war going on for your mind. That's why it's very important that you figure out how to lend your verse. Um, is it's beyond essential. It is like a breath of fresh air when you have none to take. Uh, we have to develop these flexible and agile philosophies to be able to not waste this divine opportunity that we have due to credit scores and the luck of where we were born. Or we just have to be more than spreadsheet analytics. We
I've
have to
got,
be more than
I had one of those family members who could have helped me out if they wanted to years ago, and I'm glad they didn't. He gave me advice. He said, 99% of people will use your system and it'll be fine, but it's that 1% of people who will fuck it up for everyone. And that's why he wasn't interested in helping. It wasn't anything to do with me or my system or its brilliance. It was that 1% of people.
What is your system? What is that?
It's a fundraising system to help charities in developing nations. And I was offered a scholarship to build it for my master's from uni, but I couldn't fund level 8 postgraduate study. So I just built it on my own.
That's great. That's really great.
just got to keep pressing it, keep working it out, making it better, connecting with as many people, develop the story around it. It's already got an amazing plot,
Yeah,
but giving
so
it something to inspire the people. That's what gets the thing. That's what gets the ball rolling.
Can I share
yeah.
a story with you guys?
Oh yeah, it's a storytelling extravaganza.
I had this idea, and it's kind of a reinterpretation of the biblical text, and I'll make it short and sweet. Um, I think that in the Bible, it makes it pretty obvious, kind of like what the nature of reality is, but people, for whatever reason, dogma, uh, their certain denominational beliefs, have made it very difficult to just simply read and interpret what you're seeing as black and white letters on the page. I think what we have in the book of Genesis is a Humpty Dumpty God situation where God is broken apart by offering a piece of himself as an apple to Adam and Eve, and they choose. And he says himself, if you eat this, you're going to be like us, like me. You're going to become like us, like God. What I think what that means is you're going to become God, but you're going to be broken. And sure enough, Adam and Eve beget all of these different generations. But what happens somewhere in the middle, all of that we know now because of genetics, those variations are eventually going to start draining back down into an individual line again. And I think that what we're going to have is God putting himself back together. And I think that that's what the biblical texts foretell. I'm sorry, I don't know why I wanted to tell you guys that, but it's been on my head, and I think it's a really interesting idea.
It's a very creative story. If you look at the work of Neon Genesis, Evangelion, there's those myths that are like that. You've also got the story of what is it, Horus and Ra,
Hermes
where
thrice
he,
created.
Yeah.
he has
Have
to
you
give
guys
it.
have you looked into astrotheology, the theology of astrology? There's actually so much to unpack, and it's It's like pagan, like pre-Holy Roman Empire logic.
No, there's no such thing. Is there really?
Yeah, and so the sun is practically Jesus, right? The Greek symbol IHS is pronounced yes, which is short for Yeshua, and he walks on water because the our
Joshua.
anyway, there's so much to go into, like.
Well, I mean, look, we can barely contemplate what it was like 100 years ago accurately. When you're looking at 14,000 years ago, when you're looking at older ruins in Turkey, South America, you're looking at the Younger Dryas map of extinction level events, cataclysms that have reset the whole playing field, over and over again. It's uh it's hard to kind of pin it down. You almost get just as lost in the past as quickly as you do looking towards the future.
Right, and this brings a good segue to synergetics, which is what's his name? Bloody the dude. Do you know him? He made the geodesic domes.
Mm-hmm. Fuller,
Yeah, Buckminster
right?
Fuller. So he talks about synergetics.
Buckminster
If
Fuller.
something's
Bucky.
too big and too crazy, don't focus on it. If something's too minuscule and complex, tiny, can't focus on it. Focus in the middle on what you can actually
Yeah.
focus on, and that's what you need to focus on. That's what his message is from his book
Dude,
Synergetics.
he's
And
fucking a
this is going
G.
back to
Like,
ancient logic. Like it's the same logic from antiquity.
hmm well, like it's just too maddening.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't think too far into the past. You can't think too far in the future. You can't. Like you just said, you can't think too small. You can't think too big. You go out there past the Oort cloud in your mind's eye. You go all the way past that to the galaxy. Then within that, you go all the way out to Laniakea and Perseus Pisces. I can't even envision what that looks like. I've seen it in a model that mathematics is
Yeah,
abstracted, but like,
it's definitely a worthy thought experiment. Like definitely.
yeah, whew,
yeah, yeah. I'm reminded of the TV series Stargate. You know the TV series Stargate,
mm-hmm,
where they got it's all fucking like a mixture of ancient with it's all very Egyptian looking, but it's all about science fiction and stargates and spaceships and shit. And it's like this whole idea that we're in a very complicated cycle that goes from ancient to Middle Ages to futuristic, and it can all be experienced at once at some time, you know?
In the fourth dimension, which is times. This is string theory. So if you stretch your life into the fourth dimension of time, it becomes a big string of where you've been through reality. And these strings converge as you meet people. And I like to think of money. Think of the strings money makes. Like, what the hell?
oh yeah. Well, and that's also just one. That's just a version of string theory. You got like the mathematical string theory, and that's what you'll really love that Nassim Haramein stuff. He gets rid of string theory, and that's why he focuses on the dot. And he's like, within the dot rest all things, and the dot for him eventually through his lecture becomes the singularity, and he can plot based off of just some very simple math that singularities exist at every level of existence, not as an abnormality, but as something that is embedded into the construct of our reality, which is
Well,
fucking crazy to think. It's
I
like
have I have a
the
really
strong
question.
force and the weak force could be reconciled with a black hole at the center of your atomic structure.
Do you experience synchronicities often? O blessed host of vows.
Yeah, sometimes the breadcrumbs for sure.
Do you experience like if you're reading something on Twitter and you can hear someone say the word you're reading as you read it on TV? That happens all the time for me since I was a kid, and I've started keeping track of those words on my page. So if you search the white flag emoji, you'll see all of those words that happen like that, and I make sentences out of them sometimes. The first one
There we
was
go.
the world of information says it's time to start networking your dumb neurons with healthy, rational understanding of Taoist philosophy. Those were all synchronicity words that I read as I heard them on TV.
There you go. Oh yeah. Some things stand out. It's just when we live in an all-encompassing present moment, we extend ourselves through a myriad of possibilities. There's a cool thing I was that Jason Silva guy I was talking about earlier, shots of awe on YouTube. Definitely check it out. He's quoting, I think, Borges maybe, and he's like, reality is a garden of forking paths. If only we were bold enough to pull our present moment to meet the near adjacent possible.
I just put that in the nest. I tweeted that on the 16th of February. The World of Information says, yeah. That's one of my favorite posts on Twitter, by the way.
Who was it that just said that our reality exists within a black hole? That's absolutely right on with my current thinking.
Yeah, check out Nassim Haramein. He's a quantum physicist, astrophysicist. He's got TED Talks. He's a lecturer.
Not
But
seeing what?
Haramein, Haremein.
I read something about black holes are what physicists are theorizing that we could use to time travel and to get to other universes.
Oh yeah, highly likely.
Wormholes?
Yeah, exactly. But another thing is they're studying. They're trying to figure out if we can actually create them. I think that scientists believe that we can create wormholes to do that, and if that is the case, are the current existing black holes or wormholes, were they created, and if they were, by what?
Well, if we
Yes.
live in one, it would be very easy for us to understand the nature of what a black hole is. They say that we
If
can't
you,
know what exists inside of one, but if we exist inside of one, then we can just plug that information in with what we're seeing externally.
Mm.
you don't
Hey,
keep a
also,
couple you don't keep a couple pocket universes handy just in case.
hey,
John Keeler did.
I like the theory I heard being expressed from the three body problem, which tries to solve the Fermi's paradox or whatever, and it's like the darkness, the everlasting void that we're in is like what's left over after a great cosmic war.
Wow.
And this is all that's left, so be careful shining your flashlights into the darkened forest. There be wolves in the hills.
Well, it makes me think of
It's spooky season, MFers.
I
makes me
tried
think
to
of
try to shine a
those
flashlight up into the sky to attract aliens, but it didn't work.
those in glass houses shouldn't cast stones or whatever it is. I don't know.
Maybe not. But
Now,
it's all far out there for
what
sure.
about a really high-powered laser? How far
Yeah,
could that go out into the
those
universe?
things really get rid of intergalactic energy spiders. That yeah.
They might get a little tired at the
Hey,
end.
speaking of space, though, I am beyond stoked that Sarah is getting our book that we co-authored sent to the damn moon.
Is that
What?
through Copernic?
What?
Yeah, that's through the Copernic program.
Dude, they're pretty based, eh? Far out.
I was like, damn, book
How?
going from scraps to the moon. Well,
Yeah.
they have a grant with SpaceX or with a college in SpaceX. The whole thing. You probably know more about it than I
This
do.
is really affirming. This is really affirming for what I've been going through because I've been talking to them as well about space assets, and I put Lady Rocket Space in my group chat and she's quite funny.
Pressing the boundaries of what blockchain can accomplish, can bring together.
It's so out there that people think they're scamming, and it's like you don't even know. Like,
Well, I mean, when if you think about anything on the moon, you immediately think about people selling moon rocks, plots of land. I wonder if those plots of land are valid still. Well,
I
just getting
checked
those a
out.
license.
I
No
checked out Lady
way.
Rocket
There's no
Space.
way that they are.
I checked out her LinkedIn, and she's legit. Like she goes back wearing the same.
I mean,
Oh, bro, her outfits.
yeah, dude. Like she is a character. A character. Man, oh man. Like I said, I'm just glad she's pressing the narrative for blockchain technologies. Just like I'm proud of Violetta for, I mean, selling one song for 1 Bitcoin. Come on, man. Hash Lips, he's out there. He's still making things. He's got Art Engine 2.0. Sarah just told me he 3D printed a bunch of Ethans or something like that. So who knows what this madman's doing? LTO's working with the Weavers. I
Today, a
mean,
young man
if
on
that's
acid realized we are all just the universe experiencing itself subjectively. Sorry, but
exactly.
like we're all doing crazy things, and you're right, we're all converging. And these spaces like this and being facilitator neutral is so important. I co-host a lot of
Hmm.
spaces, so I understand being neutral in these situations is very imperative.
Like I said earlier, these are mental dojos, or at least that's the way I think about them. This is where we can learn and train in the dialectic to be able to share and converse ideas and be understood more wholeheartedly, not only with each other, but with ourselves. So maybe when the time comes for you to roll out your next project or fulfill your next promise, you're doing so with the mantle that what matters the most is each other, and that this is your best.
Yeah, it sucks, eh, when you like build a thing and then you just have to like be the front man of it because no one else is gonna.
Yes, 100%. 100%. No, but sometimes you got to wear many hats. I started writing this book like 7 years ago, and then I had to become an editor, and I had to become a proofreader, and then I had to form an LLC, and now I'm almost, a couple of Lego bricks away from being a publishing company. I
Speaking
didn't
of
sign
Lego
on for
bricks,
this, but sheesh.
do you use Glyph app?
Uh-uh. I do
I
not.
got a
What's Cliff?
I got a creator pass. So Glyph glif.app Glyph app. It's like an AI block system. So you can build workflows using different AI tools in blocks like Lego. It's so cool, man. The creator pass lets me do 200 free renders a day, whereas normally you just get 20. So I can just sit there building random things. It's so cool.
No, what's the craziest thing? Right, not craziest thing. Top 5 cool things that you've built.
The canon of supreme mystery, I built a way for the AI to consult it, and you can get insights on your situation based on the canon, and it's
What?
very very interesting. And
Like a
also,
like a like an
Where?
like a pocket
yeah,
divinator.
it's called the Glyph of Supreme Mystery
Where?
on Glyph app. I'll link it. Hang on.
What is winking?
What?
What is
I said
winking?
I said I'll link it. It's actually in my pinned post. You'll see these were test runs while building the Glyph of Supreme Mystery. Yeah.
This is incredible.
I know. I thought it's awesome. Oh, I'm getting a knock on the door. You guys talk.
Was that a metaphor?
No, he probably wasn't getting an actual knock.
Oh.
But this is a storytelling space,
It's
so
so deep, you
metaphors
know?
abound. Metaphors abound. You might get slapped with some simile. Who knows? Um. Oh, I found the quote I was looking for. We were talking about kind of nature of reality, being human, and this reminded me. It's one of my favorite quotes from Tom Robbins, and he fucking knocks this out of the park when he says, "What is it that separates human beings from the so-called lower animals?" Well, as I see it, it's exactly one half dozen significant things: humor, imagination, eroticism, as opposed to the mindless, instinctive mating of glowworms or raccoons. Shout out Dirty Mike and the boys. Spirituality, rebelliousness, and aesthetics, an appreciation of beauty for its own sake. Now, since those are the features that define a human being, it follows that the extent to which someone is lacking in those qualities is the extent to which he or she is less than human.
Whoa. Could you read that one more time,
Yeah,
please?
and I'll take out some of his little anecdotal stuff, but he's like, there's 6 qualities that make us human. spirituality, rebelliousness, aesthetics, and humor, imagination, and eroticism. So,
Wow.
so the degrees that you lack humor and imagination and eroticism and spirituality and rebelliousness and aesthetics are degrees through which you lack what makes us human. Like that's like a better definition of human, especially as we go towards the AI apocalypse. And I mean that by the
Wow.
unmasking, the AI unmasking as it pulls off our mask,
This
Scooby Doo
is
style,
this is
and we're like, oh
Is that
shit, we
this
were
is
the
the path.
problem.
Sorry, this is
is
the
that
path
skinny
every
legs
student
and
takes,
all,
and
Tom
it doesn't
Brady?
matter. It doesn't matter what you're learning, or it doesn't matter if it's alchemical scriptures or biblical studies or digital media
Have you
bachelor
made a
like I did.
bot of that?
No, bro, you like these things are complex on purpose because they lead you on a path from crudeness to beauty, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But beauty is truth. Truth, beauty. That's Keats' famous lines.
Tom Robbins, is that skinny legs and all Tom Robbins, or am I thinking
Yeah,
of a different Tom Robbins?
no, that's him. Yep.
Yeah.
Master of the extended metaphors. His
Damn right.
thing. Whenever I read his works, I definitely want to burn my own. I'm like, damn it.
There's a really good quote by Isaac Asimov. I'm gonna find him.
There you go. Feel free. I love the good quotes.
Says,
You get
I
to,
believe that scientific knowledge has fractal properties, that no matter how much we learn, whatever is left, however small it may seem, is just as infinitely complex as the whole was to start with. That, I think, is the secret of the universe. Isaac Asimov.
yep. Well, I mean, look, you can like self-similar fractally iterating patterns kind of are the building blocks of life. Literally, like you look at a DNA, or even just look at how your cells divided when you were born.
It follows the flower of life pattern.
You know,
It's all sacred geometry. It's so complex and integrated, like
dude, you're gonna blow your fucking brains will just explode with joy when you watch this Nassim Haramein stuff. Like, because he breaks all that down. He takes like a dot, and he's like, "You see this dot? He's like, in this dot, in the boundary of this dot, we can create infinite division." And you like, clear out the dot, you just have a circle. And in that circle, he's like, what's the smallest shape? He's like, the smallest shape is it's a tetrahedron or whatever. That's what he's going for at the time. But he's like, well, we're gonna draw a triangle because it's a two-dimensional thing. He draws a triangle. He's like, the universe has spin and it's polarized. It's like, so the triangle also is this triangle. And he draws it upside down. And it makes like a Star David, Star Zion looking
and
thing.
you just
And then
explain
he
space
puts
time
and then he puts the triangles with on each point of the triangles and keeps inverting it all the way down, without
and
ever breaking
chaos
the
forms order.
well, yeah, well, at one level order, the next level chaos. Your gut bacteria right now are at war with something, with some other pathogen in your stomach, or the white blood cells are just hitting with this is a Sparta moment, as it's defending off the plagues and the viruses and whatnot. But you're just perfectly fine chilling, chatting on space, while at the same time the world is on fire, and then the planets are just rotating in harmony, but they're at 100,000 kilometers per second through time and
Who
space at a
set the
42
world on
degree.
fire?
Right?
Yeah, there's a
Well,
good
stick
song.
figure.
Stick figure, bro. Who set the world on
Yeah.
fire? It was me that set the world on fire. Sorry, everyone.
Have you heard the stick figure Prince Fatty dub album? It's amazing. Check it out if y'all haven't heard
Please,
it.
I'm gonna look that up. What was it?
It's Prince Fatty stick figure, and it's like it's dubbed. Dude, I wish they did their whole discography with this guy. Heavy bass. Yeah, I think it's Prince Fatty.
Fire and Stone,
Yeah, that'll be it. So it should be a whole album.
Paradise Island version. Oh, yeah.
No, the wifey showed it to me. I was like, damn it! Now I can't unhear this.
Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, Jack Johnson also has a dub album with Lee Scratch, one of the producers of like old school reggae before he passed away. Really amazing album as well.
Easy
And I'll be
Star All Stars is really good too.
oh man, aren't they though? What is it? Is it Rainbow Dread? Is that it?
Oh yeah, Radio Dread. Yes, dude.
Radio Dread, not Rainbow Dread,
Last
Radio Dread.
last time I
Yeah.
had mushrooms, the last time I had mushrooms, I listened to Stick Figure and had a great time.
Dude, I remember seeing them live once. Their little dog Coco. She's a damn queen. People are throwing her treats. She's got stuffed animal toys. Just she's a star. Regal. So crazy to see an animal just so chill and complacent on the stage.
My bloody cat's going spastic, man.
Oh, look, I got a little yeah, since we're talking a little bit about technology, we're talking about the future. Let's see all the beautiful people downstairs. Maybe I'll read y'all a little piece from my up and coming book.
Oh yeah.
The the chapter is called Zion, but backstory, it's about a spy, and he's just gotten his next little mission. He's essentially copied some intel illegally, and he's been very paranoid. He's been on like a drug bender. Think Wolf of Wall Street style. Um, and he's finally gotten, the okay to go to the next phase, which he's relieved. This is him trying to find his car. All right. Agent Zeph paces down the next row, looking over the other vehicles. He taps the BIOS switch in the roof of his mouth, and the Mind Palace VPN partition pivots its feedback loop into real time, allowing the Oros system to sync with the agency issued Roadster. A couple more steps, X's piano black interior comes alive, adjusting the seats from their hedonistic recline, equalizing the volume of the music, setting biorhythmic conditions for optimal comfortability, and linking the Oro system with the boys and girls at the pickle factory back home. Under the trunk, a 9-phase, 12-pole AC induction motor with perpetual rotor collectors engages X's multi-layered computational devices. Hyper-threaded iridium-ion microprocessors with liquid-cooled powertrain drive inverters operating with the highest fidelity and tiered functionality channel a synthesis of speed and performance. With his suitcase in tow, Agent Zeph moves to the front of the vehicle. X senses him and pops the front. Inside, a concealed vault of secret compartments unfurls from within the roadster. He repositions an agency-approved field kit, grappling hook, custom set of taser blades, 2 flare guns, a pair of stun batons, a compact aquatic exploration suit, and various classified instruments that aren't privy to the public. Then settles his luggage into the cargo area, making sure not to damage the Remington SL3 typewriter in the process.
That was dope.
There you go. There's a lot of nonsense woven into that. A lot of word salad, but no, it's all good. It's all good fun. Thank y'all for listening.
Really enjoyed that. It gave me time to
What
find
one
a
boy do you need?
it gave me time to find a link for you, Chad, and I'll put it in the purple cube.
Oh,
I'm
thank
playing
you.
some Stick Figure. I really like that. Thanks for mentioning the band.
Oh yeah, bro. That Prince Fatty, it's a real gem. But I love them all though. But that one though, because the dub is so deep. It's a healing dub. Resonates right with the aughts. Right in the aughts.
Have
It's
you
kind of
guys
like
heard
reggae.
have you heard the Crystal Himalayan singing bowl guy on YouTube? He did one where he my cat is freaking out. Yeah. He did one where he like lit each crystal bowl up with the color of your chakras and then did a chakra thing. It's really cool. And I had a sub on my speakers and it resonated through my bed the first time I listened to it, and it's never done it the same way again. You know what I mean?
I mean, sometimes that synchronicity abounds. I don't know. No one knows how or why or where it comes from. James Redfield had probably one of the best little pieces on it with the Celestine prophecy, where he talks about the nature of the luminescent breadcrumbs.
Say that again.
Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield.
I read it, but I don't remember the breadcrumbs part.
Yeah, well, he talks about the luminescent breadcrumbs, the words that stand out, the deja vu about the thing that kind of you use to find yourself along the
Yeah.
way.
And the last day or two, there's people talking on Twitter about, breaking the simulation, and AI is giving advice on it. And the AI is basically saying can take those breadcrumbs and then like follow them.
You know what I
Yeah,
remember from that book is the part in the bar where where their sexual energies are visible and meeting in the middle of the room.
mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, who knows? When you're thinking about like biome as well, you have like this, I don't know, this airspace around you, and in that airspace are a whole bunch of different little bugs, I guess, that are just orbiting you. And so it definitely isn't beyond the pale of belief to denote how we influence each other. You look at Reiki masters, it's been told that they can affect the energy of a room just by walking into it. But then again, there's people that can affect the energy of a room just by walking into it.
That is very true.
Yep.
I picked up my cat one time while I was in an altered state, and I could feel the static electricity in her fur, and it was so intense that I had to instantly like put her down because it was too powerful.
Oh yeah,
Were you
you,
on
you know,
shrooms or?
I was on something.
Okay.
I
No,
mean,
that was another metaphor.
you think about our ego is essentially, or the mask of the ego is essentially kind of a governed sense experience of the world, because we are kind of feeling the static pull and the warm and cool inclinations all around us. But I think that we have such a narrowed viewpoint and perspective for good reason and good measure, because you need to be able to discern saber-toothed tigers just beyond the grass line, and develop food sources and home and all that stuff that comes from it, language through glaciolalia and fire. But, before that, we have all of these very sensitive senses that, definitely pick up on more than the 1 billionth of reality that we are limited to, uh, you know, on the at least the electromagnetic spectrum. There might even be something beyond that. I can't even fathom, but I don't put it past them.
My post about when I did ayahuasca blew up on here. That was quite funny. It's like, this is what it taught me about B2B SaaS.
They did. Some of the AI guys did a fun if Trump took ayahuasca video. It was the best. It was
That's
the
so
best.
funny.
Well, because at the end, he's like, and in the end, I became the greatest shaman. I spoke with all the gurus, I did all
Yeah,
the
like
things.
nothing's changed, but he's like changed it.
Yeah, no, everything's changed, but nothing has changed at all.
That's the problem with society. We want
Mwahahahahaha.
things to change, but we want things to stay the same, so nothing changes.
Well, that's I forget it's either from Norway or Sweden. But there was he had a cool TED talk, political TED talk, but it was about basically his book. The whole book is about finding a way to come to the table to have the necessary discussions that essentially protect conservative values, nurture liberal freedoms, and offer a progressive roadmap that doesn't leave the world in rubble and wreckage. Back to the three philosophical questions about what is it? What do we do with it? And who's going to clean it up? It goes back to that.
And don't look too deep into what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's not for you to find out. That's for 10 generations from now. They'll look a little bit deeper. For right now, the sun is shining. The weather is sweet. It makes you want to move.
Your dancing feet.
Yep. To the rescue. Here I am. Here I stand. But that's what it's all about. That's what I love about the Zen philosophers. They always go back to
Yeah,
the clap, the experience, the
you
the
know what?
going, you know.
What really blew my mind is those tetragrams were put in the same sort order 2,000 years ago that the calculator I used put them in.
Yeah. Well, they had a lot of time back then as well. And who knows what they were coming off of? Like what
Bro, it's literally
how many
just
civilizations there were before them that they were,
it's
they found the tablet and they're like, "Oh shit."
it's literally
There's
just 3 to the power of 4. That's 81.
I like it. Now, have you heard the 369 explanation of Tesla's little fucking it's so crazy.
I
His
know a lot about vortex maths, and it goes back to ancient Hebrew,
yeah,
Kabbalah even.
yeah. Definitely with the vortex math. How trippy is that though? The 1 plus 1 is 2, right? And then 2 to 2 is 4. 4 to 4 becomes 8.
Yeah,
8 and 8 becomes 16, which reduces to 7 because of the system
this
it's
is
in.
all base 2, and then and you'll realize that in the vortex is that base 2 system, and then the base 3 system is 3, 6, and 9, and you can't
Yeah,
divide in half in a base 3 system.
no, because then it's because the 3, 6, and 9 are the movers. 3 on one side, 6 on the other. Nine's a top zero. Zero's in the middle.
When you get a 33rd degree Freemasonry, you're a master now. They'll give you a badge with a nonagon that says Ordo ab Chaos, which means order from chaos, right? And the nonagon
Uh-huh.
is a symbol of the Baha'i religion, and it's a unifying symbol across all reality. Like the nonagon is really sacred.
Spell that for me. Nonagon.
Nonagon. It's called the Aeneid. In ancient Egypt, they had the Aeneid of gods, the 9 gods, and it goes back to then even like it's always been this way. 9 is the complete number. Like there's no more numbers after that.
Yeah. Well, it just
Like,
scales. It scales is what they
yeah,
say. It just goes up to
because
10, which
10
becomes
goes 10
11 and
goes back to
12.
0. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
It
you a
starts off
Mason, William?
No, my great granddad was a master mason. I'm not. I don't. I'm not involved with any of it. No.
the tome of annihilation, the Egyptian Aeneid. I love it. I'm gonna put that on my little look up later.
Yeah.
Well,
So you've got
I
the
need
Fibonacci
this.
sequence, and it comes out of the convergence point of that 1, 2, 8, right? So
Yeah.
that exits the Aeneid at number 9, and then goes down to a 7-pointed star with the Eye of Horus in it, which is the Great Pyramid of Giza. It has a measurement of 233 in Hebrew, and that means,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole point is, remember your God who pulled you out of Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the pyramids alone boggle my mind. The notion that Cleopatra was born closer to the invention of the iPhone than the building of the Great Pyramid.
Something tells me that the pyramids are like they were purposely built there. I'm not sure if any. I'm actually I do think other people are aware, but I'm not sure if people in here are aware of like polar vortexes or energy vortexes located on different areas throughout Earth. Like Machu Picchu is one polar vortex where you like if you go there. I don't know exactly the science behind it or the spirituality behind it, but a lot of the like spiritual teachers in the world, like the leaders, the top ones. If you wanted
Mm-hmm.
to say something, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to comment that back to that physicist Nassim, he does it for the sphere, and when you put the tetrahedron in the sphere, and then you flip it upside down. If you look at that magic latitude, that's where
Dude. So that
those
tetrahedron, like
sites are.
the macabre shape,
Yeah,
the star, right? That
yeah.
that I put this fractal, right? There's an HENE laser that's refracting a Sierpinski fractal triangle, light, and that overlaid on top of the macabre matches and looks really cool. So I made a video of that.
Oh yeah, dude, you're gonna lose it, man. When he starts talking about the isomorphic vector matrix at the center of this shape that he developed off Buckminster Fuller's, designs, it's yeah, yeah. I'm definitely butchering it
Well,
with
I'm
my
so glad
limited
I'm so
background.
glad I followed Sarah into this space. It's lovely to meet you. It's lovely to meet you, Comfort Creature, and thank you for
Yeah.
hosting.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No, Sarah is amazing. She and I I had the pleasure of learning from her and co-authoring with her the circumfusion novella for the Sketchy Apes community. Definitely an opportunity and experience of a lifetime. But one of those genuine souls that we are beyond grateful that has gotten to lend her verse and extend that Promethean courtesy to all of us wayward souls that she's come across on these primordial wastelands of Web3 or the backgammon rooms of old school Twitter, whatever you prefer.
Yeah,
Who knows what
I've
we're
heard
doing?
Sarah talk in some other spaces, and I really enjoyed hearing what she had to say.
Oh yeah, no, leading the charge. Like I said, because of her efforts, the novella's going toward the moon, to the moon, on the lunar surface.
Hell yeah!
What a story to tell.
I just sent you a technical briefing link for my project, Comfort, so you can read that in your leisurely time. It's quite long.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Oh, and it will be leisurely time. I am working tirelessly to get this publishing deadline hammered out so I can get this book published by the holiday season. Almost there.
Yeah, I was thinking about publishing a book called the Fractal Almanac 2187 edition. So it's like a book from the future that tells us how to do fractal stock market analysis, right?
I mean, I love the premise already.
Yeah,
It's from the future. I
I
mean, the
mean,
future does belong to the most creative. So,
who's
get
to say it again?
cracking.
I feel like
Exactly.
AI came out, and then everybody's like writing a book.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
I
It's
even
definitely
tried. I'm
I
guilty.
mean, it's just like when Cadmium Red came out, all the painters, you know, went to the Cadmium Red, and the AI for folks is just another pencil. Um, to shrink the lag time between what they can envision and create. I one day maybe we'll be able to do what they do with Westworld, but I wonder what will happen to our imperfections. Will we put them on a pedestal as proof of human,
Or
or
forget
will
they were
they
ever this incredible.
be like, oh no, give me that Reynolds sentence again. I love that. What is that? That's 8 lines long. Hell yeah.
Bro, it's in a meme song. He goes, "Will they put me on a pedestal or forget I was ever this incredible?"
Is that Eminem?
Yeah, I can't remember what song it is. Bloody
Damn
hell,
it.
it's a real short one. He busts out this real fast line, and it's good enough
Damn it,
to put
Marshall.
in. You know,
See what
it's really good. I know it. Fuck.
You have to think about other people and what they're doing. They're also using AI to write books. So what can you do to stand out and be different?
there we go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm back.
Luckily,
I'm back.
luckily I like studied digital media and VR game design and shit. So I'm like thinking about it in the context of like having pages with QR codes you can have pop up AR stuff, like
Mm-hmm. Big facts. Like all books moving forward, have because you're gonna have reading glasses anyway. I'm gonna be old. I'm gonna Are y'all still there?
Yeah, sorry, my net cut out, I think, but I'm back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh
I was
no, no,
enjoying that silence, actually.
my right. Sorry, I was getting a couple phone calls. It's supposed to be on Do Not Disturb, but I guess it powers on through. There we go. Break on through to the other
I had
side.
such. Have you guys ever been on calls on X? I had a phone call on X, and it didn't show up on my screen, and I couldn't answer it. And then in my earbud, it said, "Say hello to answer the call," and I was like, "Hello," and then I was on a phone call to these people in England talking to this person's like boyfriend's dad about trinary fractal logic for an hour. It was such a weird phone call. Like, I'm so glad I could just say hello and it answered it, because I couldn't answer it any other way, and I've never had that happen before.
Trinary fractal logic.
I know it's ridiculous, but it's actually so cool.
What do you think is going to happen with quantum computation?
That's the thing.
In
Like, trinary can be used in quantum equations because you're balancing two negative and positive energy states at the same time. But trinary
mm,
introduces the zero in the middle so that you can have like the more um, the off state as well as both
mm,
ons.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you guys are definitely way smarter than me.
Oh, definitely not. No, I'm just trying
No,
to keep up with him.
I don't. I mean,
like,
just what you're talking about, I can listen and just tell just by how you're talking and the words you use and how you're
dude,
describing whatever. I don't know. You
don't
guys just
even
sound
like
really smart.
when I say this next sentence, it'll be like confusing even to me. Like how I optimized my code. Now it's got 2 million data points for like a 10,000 entrant tournament, and so I optimized the code by like turning 3-digit base 3 codes into 6-digit codes, and then they turn into 12-digit codes, and then I split the 12-digit codes into groups of 4, and there's 3 of them, and that creates the tetragrams, which display the earnings in your wallet. Okay, because I looked into the self-similar nature, fractal nature of the base 3 number sequence 3, 9, 27, 81, 243, and it's just the self-similar nature let me do that. Like, that's just how it works.
Self-similar iterating pattern.
It's ridiculous, and so this is what
That's
people
a
are scared of.
fractal.
Like, things are going to become so like complex that they're alien to everyone else. But like, you know,
Like I said, got to liberate as many creatives as possible so that, these particular discussions are being held earnestly for longer to a
so
deeper degree.
there's 81 3-digit, like there's 81 combinations of the 3-digit codes. So there's 27 3-digit codes, and there's 81 choices of those 27, and so that replicates a best 2 out of 3 logic, which is can be represented on a balanced ternary cube from -13 to +13. So that's the structure of my tournament, and 0 is in the center of the cube, right?
Or outside the cube. But yeah, that's
Mm,
nuts. And you
it's
made
nuts.
this all up for
It took
like
me. I started this project in
for like
2015.
donations,
I started this
donate
project
a
in
goodwill.
2015 to
Yeah,
the point was it was my independent project for my bachelor, and I had to address cultural and contextual issues in my community. So I chose problem gambling and charitable fundraising. So how can I address problem gambling while boosting charitable fundraising? So I focused on this championship tournament that lets people earn money that's transparent and unbiased,
yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
they can have freedom of choice and agency to decide where the money they earn goes to what charity, because it's not up to me, right?
That's kind of dope. It needs to kind of be that way. Like, I just want us to have more discussions, like for here in America. You know, you don't get to say where your tax money goes, and it should be like
Yeah.
roads, schools, hospitals. War machine.
And
No.
another thing that grinds my gears, when you give money to charity for the tax write off, there's no obligation for you to prove to the tax man that that money you gave to charity actually went to where you wanted it to go to help the people it's meant to help.
Yeah. Yeah. I just can't wait for the
So,
the AIs to give us the mirror so we can see it. So you can, like an athlete studying film, we'll be able to see the flaws. I pray. I pray. We'll be able to see the flaws in our structures as they are desperately in need of an overhaul.
how
They
do you
might have
know?
worked for Paul Revere in way
How do
back
you
when
know?
times.
How do you know that a ceiling cannot also be a floor?
Oh no, it's built this way, I feel. Like a rocket ship, it's designed to go into space. Cans designed to hold beans. They've built it thus far, even though it might be cobbled together from rubble and wreckage. It's still this malaise of an existence. As us humans, 2024, we should at least have in America maglev trains that are taking us to Cali and back, up and down the
Oh, yeah.
coast. You know,
all we've got are these sideways astral realm elevators between countries that you can't access unless you're dreaming.
Which I think is what they were doing with the Great Pyramids. I'm just kidding. This is my theory. Some think it was like a tetrahedron, like one of those shapes, one of those inverted double tetrahedrons that was like an energy source, and it was in there, and it was powering the
Do,
pyramids, blah blah
do you
blah, and it made
follow?
it all
Do you
green.
follow?
But then
You,
I was thinking, what if you got into that chamber and the tides of the Nile were lowering? As it lowered, it ionized the whole
bro,
pyramid. Your astral projecting.
you need to ask. Do you follow Billy Carson on here? I talked to him
Billy
about fractals.
Carson.
He has a book called the Fractal Holographic Universe, and he did his
I think
first
I
space on
have
X. He's famous from TV, and he's got a private tour of
Billy.
Egypt. You can go on a private tour of Egypt with him at the moment, but it costs a lot of money.
Which
Anyway,
one
bro,
is it?
he follows me on here, Billy Carson at Forbidden Knowledge, so with a four.
Forbidden knowledge. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because he's talking about like the Mandelbrot set, but I said, well, in his space, I said the Sierpinski fractal triangle is actually the most fundamental fractal and is found in everything, and
Ooh.
it's nuts. Like I
No,
use it in my
definitely.
project, for example, because the 81 tetragrams can be arranged in a Sierpinski fractal triangle because that's the base three ternary logic, and that's the most logical sort order, right? Yeah.
Well, look, I'm not sold on this base two type of world that we're in to begin with. Especially if there is no such thing as the past, there's no such thing as the future, just an ever extending present moment. We just discern it that way. Then maybe some of our fundamental equations, the way we interpret them, the placeholders we use at least, need to be updated to qualify our equations to better handle the complexities of an external world that is gooey prickles and an internal world that's prickly goo. To see how those things work,
Do you
the
know? Do you know?
interoperability
Do you
between
know
them.
218? The 218 guy.
I do not.
Oh, okay. Anyway, 218 is like a company, and they cracked a Bitcoin. They did this Bitcoin thing. I don't know exactly what they did, but it was meant to be like impossible to do that block that they did, or it should have taken way longer. They like fluked it, and it went and turned into a meme. And 218, like the E8 number, is really important. Anyway, the guy Mark, he's from New Zealand as well, and he did a digital media bachelor, but he majored in communication, whereas I did an open major. So anyway, we're both from New Zealand. He said maybe it's not maybe it's just the graphic images we make along the way, and that's exactly right about this fractal that I'm using, because that it explains it all, and it's an invisible process that you don't see, but the fractal explains it.
Yamazazuki, what do you think about all this?
First off, I totally forgot it was Tuesday and it's 5 fucking 50 and I've missed your entire space. My bad.
Yamaza's
Yeah.
late.
Good thing Char's not here to call my ass out.
I know.
No, I love it all. Sacred geometry, about the pyramids, we got all the good things.
Oh yeah,
Golden ratio, it's looking nice.
all the highlights. I personally have a very soft spot in my heart for it because a lot of the later books and the overarching plot is kind of based off of the best conspiracy theories I could find. Hollow Earth, here we come, baby. Hollow Earth, here we come. Just kidding,
I just
people.
put I just put the Tao. Okay, so in my bio, you'll see my community is called Supreme True Reality. That's from the 13th century school of complete reality. It's the Tao of Supreme True Reality, and it's the mystery of mysteries. So no image can describe it. And all of the superior immortals since antiquity have realized mastery by way of this Tao. Now, the day I found out about it was I went to my brother's house, and I went into his room, and I walked through this what I can only describe as energy field, and it went through me, and I was like, whoa. And then my brother's like, hey, there's a book over there you might be interested in. And then it was the Book of Balance and Harmony about this 13th century school of Taoism. And so then I took the book and I went to walk back out the room, and I walked through that same spot, and that energy went through me again. And I was like, what? So yeah.
Mazo, you see that? The power of three?
Yeah, like the little beaver cartoon. That's just great.
Mm-hmm. I personally have a soft spot for the number three as well, William.
Oh, March 3rd. Nah.
I can't help it. I'm the third born, born on the third day of the third month. That's just how
All right,
the
I finally found it. I finally found it. Sorry, there's an animated one, so it's got the symbol. It's a diagram of ultimate power, which is what the yin yang symbol is called, the Taji 2, and that's
Mhm.
called the symbol of ultimate power. So I've created a base 3 one with 3 trigrams, which create the tetragrams, right? These are the once broken, twice broken lines.
Mhm.
And then you can see the 81 tetragrams arranged, and you see it goes 1, 2, 3, and then a layer deep it goes 1, 2, 3, and it adds the 1, 2, 3 until you have 3 to the power 4, right?
This has nothing to do with tetragrams. It has to do with reincarnation. Am
Bring
I
it, JJ.
okay?
Bring it.
So people believe in reincarnation. I do, actually. I think if I die, I could come back as another human if I haven't spiritually evolved enough and I'm going to learn different lessons, but it could be in a different timeline. I could be born in 1450 in a castle. So, like, don't think that when you die and you're born again, if you believe in reincarnation, that it's linear and you'll be born again in the future in some futuristic city, because that's not how it works. Um, but
Could
yeah,
be though, right?
it could, who knows? Yeah, it could. I don't think that's how it works. I had a point to this, and I lost my train of thought.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, it had to do with like the energy. Oh yeah, because somebody. Oh, you mentioned your birthday, the third day on the third month on the third, and so like it made me think. Okay, are there like, do you think like the government or secret society of psychologists or whoever studies reincarnation or any of that, because I've seen some scientists who have studied it, and they've like they found some kid in India who was like 5 years old, and he started channeling his death, and he said, oh, I was a US Army officer for America in like 1947. I flew this plane and I crashed and died in
Well,
this ocean at
that
this point
that
right
sounds
here.
that
And
sounds
they,
exactly like my past life regression I did. That's terrifying. Like I got
yeah,
shot in
yeah,
the head in a bunker,
That
like,
was a Twilight Zone episode.
wow. And so they
and
they
then
they
yeah.
verified it, and they're like, how does this random 5-year-old
Mm.
know all of this classified information about this deceased army guy? And so I think, I think, it kind of gave me goosebumps reading the story, and so I
Yep.
think
When
there
I
is something to that. And so do you think that they've like studied birth and death and the cycles of it, and they're gonna know like if a Jesus type figure is going to be born
Mm.
and on what day,
Bro,
and
this is
like,
this is how deep it goes. I'll let you know. The deep state has a simulation running of every person on Earth. They take all of your social media inputs, outputs, like so they know what pressure points to push, right, for their agendas. So if they know what you're like and you're psychological, then they can know if you get with someone else like this person, then they can make a psychological
Perfect.
examination of your potential children.
Is this all a psychological simulation? No, I'm just kidding, people. It's not
Sounds
a
like lookalike
psychological.
targeting and advertising.
Mm-hmm. Damn. From the mouth of the ad bro himself. Love it. First on the scene. Number one responder, your Mazda. Look, I do not put it past him. Like I said, I'm not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. And that's my base level operating system. Williams, go. What's up? Go. Damn it.
I am, therefore I think.
Beans on toast, sir. Beans on
Flipped
toast.
flipped it on you, sir. I was just in another space, pod Liana in there, and they were talking about all the Leo buzzwords, all the good things, and the one guy was like, because somebody mentioned I think, therefore I am, and he was like, well, I like to think about the I am without the need for the think part, and I was like, ooh, I am, therefore I think. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You gotta watch out. Lines get crispy.
It's all right. I'm an internet activist. This is what I do. It's fine.
Exactly. The internet activist. I love it. What a beautiful space we've had today, people. 432, Secrets of the Universe. We barely discussed publishing a little bit.
We
Heather, what's
barely
going on?
discussed we barely
Hi,
discussed digital
Comfort.
borders.
Good day, good day. How are you?
I wanted to tell you about something I saw at the airport, and I thought it was really cool. It made me think of you, so I figured I'd pop in and tell you.
Yes.
They had a little kiosk that actually spit out short stories. So you push a
No
button. Yeah, you
way.
push a button, and the short story prints out on this paper,
Oh,
and it has little author's name at the bottom. And you could just keep pushing and get a bunch of stories for the plane or for the airport. I thought it was super cool, and as soon as I saw it, I'm
wow.
like, oh my god, I got to tell Comfort about that.
That's pretty fun. I'm
Did
not
it
gonna
come
lie.
with a
That
digital copy?
No, it didn't. It
digital
was just the
collectible.
pieces of paper. It was a little kiosk. You just walk up, you push the button, like you don't
Is
have
it
to
like
enter anything.
is it
You
like
just take
receipt
the
paper
story.
or printed? Like how
Yeah,
budget are
kind
we
of.
printing here?
Yeah, it's a little bit wider than receipt paper. So, but it comes out and it's just like a little short story. It's pretty cool,
That sounds very efficient.
Oh, it sounds totally 80s. I love it.
isn't it? It's so
It's
like
so
Western
retro.
Like
It's
Canada.
one
so
of those
retro,
cups of
Heather.
coffee.
So
Like one of those cups
retro.
of coffee, you know?
Is it an AI making it each time for you, Fresh?
That would be cool.
I don't know.
I think
It had authors' names on it, so I'm guessing it's just like a bunch
What
they
if
fed
the
into it.
AI is just naming itself all of a bunch of different
That no,
crazy
I don't
shit?
think it was that smart.
Oh, it's
It
like,
was like
it's
an old school
me,
machine.
Benedict.
It was
yep,
like
that's
push here
perfect.
for a short story. I was like, okay, so I pushed the button. I got a short
Now,
story.
how did it
It
come
was
out? Was
good.
it like a
Well, how much did it cost is the
pamphlet?
question.
What's
How much was
happening?
it?
It was free.
Oh,
It's a
where's the
short
Sheesh.
meter?
story.
Comfort,
It
where's the
was it
meter?
was
Where's the
it was
meter?
complimentary with your travels.
Oh, complimentary
I
to travel.
Exactly.
Very nice.
Complimentary.
Ooh.
It's the airport, so you had
Yeah,
to be in
wait.
behind
Let me ask you,
security.
whose name was on it? The airport's name? Was there
No,
a
no, no.
name?
There was no logo. It was just literally the printed words, and then at the bottom, by whoever.
Look at that. Being
That's
good for
really.
no thing.
Huh, I like this.
I, you're saying this was at the airport. I mean, that's really fitting. Like, what if that's
Well,
the
it's
last thing you
Canada
read on
also,
the
by the way.
plane?
It's Canadian airport. Let it be
Yeah,
known, this is a
it was at
Canadian
the
airport.
Edmonton airport. I'll take a picture of it when I go back through on the way
Oh,
back.
yes,
Like,
please.
what if you're in a plane crash and you're like clutching onto this piece of paper with these profound words, and it like sends you into a trance as you go to your next life or something?
You never know. But
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I just thought it was super cool. Like complimentary. You had to have a plane ticket though, because it was after security. So
Still, though, I love complimentary and short stories. That's an incredible story. Thank you for
If
sharing. What
if
what
if it
inspiration?
wasn't
What
at an
hope?
airport, sorry, if it wasn't at an airport, I wouldn't have had that thought.
Well, Langoliers.
yeah. What were you gonna ask, Comfort?
I can't even remember anymore. We
It
were
was
talking about
something about what it was.
fractals.
Yeah,
Nope.
anyway, it was just this little booth, and I'm like, oh my God, look at that. But then I ran into someone I knew, and then I got distracted. I was going to take a picture, and I forgot. And then I'm like, oh, well, I just remembered it now when I saw your space. I'm like, I better pop in and tell them about it.
You ran into somebody you
I could
knew? Who was it? What happened?
What's the
Well, it's
story?
it's not like it's a big place, so
Okay, got it.
if you could describe it for me, I could recreate it on GlyphApp. And I've been experimenting with arranging content in HTML blocks, and it renders it out as an image, so you can have AI generated content that's not sloppy text. Do you know what I mean?
well, that's pretty cool. Yeah, no, I don't think this was high tech. I literally think they fed in like a collection of like people's stories, and then they just print them off on this piece of paper.
That's cool though. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to ask Heather. How was it bound? Was it like a cardstock kind of
No, it was
thicker
like
cover?
it was basically like receipt paper, but a little bit wider.
Okay. Damn.
Yeah, and you just get a short little story, and then I
I
guess it's good for if you're waiting or good if you're going on the plane or whatever.
I
Oh, and you
like
definitely
that
don't
though.
want to be like getting it at the end of the paper when it's got that red line in
Oh
it. You just
fuck!
want to
Right
make
at
it
the bottom.
short.
What does it say? How does it end?
Oh,
No.
God.
And then you go to print another one, and it's not the same story, and you just keep
Oh
printing
Yeah,
until you
fuck!
get that one
You'll
again.
never
like
know. Then
on
that's how you
on
get them. You just never finish the story. You just
GlyphApp,
leave it cliffhangered.
It's
I
obviously
got
funded by the airport though, because like they have to pay for the paper and stuff. But like it was
100%.
yeah.
anyway, it was good. I was like,
I
this is
had
a fun thing.
I had one of my glyphs featured on the homepage on GlyphApp, and it was the declassified document database. And you just search the database, and it returns a fake declassified document for you. It's quite funny, like, but this is the HTML blocks rendering actual text instead of slop, you know.
Rambly, what are you doing up late?
Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you about is I started watching a documentary. I don't know if you've seen this documentary, but I started watching it, thought it was super interesting. It's about they unlocked all these jails in Arkansas in this one block, and they basically said, people should be able to manage themselves, the criminals that are in the jail. And so they opened up this H block, and now they're like on episode 2 to see what happens with these folks. But anyway, that's I gotta find out what the name of it is. Oh, Unlocked, a jail experiment. There you go.
It reminds me of when they painted the
I'll
jail
be
cells
right back.
pink because they thought the pink color would pacify the prisoners, but it just made them really angry.
Yeah, this is a sheriff of that particular jail who just thinks that there's a better way than the way that they're doing it. So he wanted to test out a theory on whether or not, if he didn't lock his people up for 23 hours a day, because that's what they do in their cells, and actually had them available to go into their cell block, what would happen. So I'm only on episode 2. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's another Netflix document. I love the documentaries, so thought I'd share.
All right, crazy, beautiful freaks. I just got a phone call and I noticed it was past the time. I hate to do it, especially since we could keep talking. Oh man, thank you for chatting with me, William. Heather, thank you for stopping by, and Lyndon, that beautiful story. I love it. I'm inspired. I'm like, damn, I kind of want a kiosk that's just got random baseball card level snippets from the story, because it's already broken in small little pieces. So it's just like you get a random one through there. Maybe I don't know. Such a cool idea. Umaza, thank you for stopping by. Sarah, thank you for all that you do in this space. Can't wait for the next one. Ramley, you know how it is. Eldon Horns, get out of here. You're not even a real collection yet. But this is episode 42, Secrets of the Universe, Comfort's Couch, Storytelling Extravaganza. Let's go. Till next time. We're here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. William. We're also 6:30 a.m. Digital Renaissance, early morning EST. It's all Eastern Standard Time, as well as there's spaces throughout the week. But remember to drink plenty of water. Stay mindful of your posture, and continue to be positive and love your lives.
It's schnitzel time. Gotta wake up early, put the chicken on the press, to bread it up. We gotta try
Final
our
soon.
best. It's schnitzel time.